Picture this: a government shutdown that's not just a temporary pause, but a dramatic shakeup where thousands of federal jobs are on the chopping block, all in a bid to force political opponents into action. It's a bold move that's sparking heated debates across the nation. And trust me, you won't want to look away as the story unfolds. According to the White House's Budget Office, announced on Friday, widespread dismissals of federal employees have kicked off as part of an aggressive strategy to ramp up pressure on Democratic lawmakers amid the ongoing government shutdown. This isn't your typical standoff. It's a calculated escalation that's got everyone talking. Russ Vought, who heads the Office of Management and Budget, took to the social media platform X to declare that RIFs have begun. For those new to the term, RIF stands for Reduction in Force, which essentially means cutting back on the workforce to streamline government operations. A spokesperson from the Budget Office described these cuts as substantial, though they held back on specifics for now. One of the agencies feeling the impact is the Education Department, where layoffs are already underway, as confirmed by a department representative. To put this in perspective, when President Trump first took office in January, the department boasted around 4,100 employees. But through a series of mass reductions in the early months of the Republican administration, that number was slashed nearly in half, leaving about 2,500 workers by the time the shutdown began on October 1st. This kind of downsizing can have ripple effects, like delays in student aid processing or disruptions in educational programs that rely on federal support. Imagine how that might affect families counting on these services during uncertain times. The White House had signaled this tough approach just before the shutdown hit, instructing all federal agencies to prepare and submit their reduction in force plans for review. These plans target programs that lose funding during a shutdown, those without ongoing support, or initiatives that don't align with the president's key priorities. It's a far cry from the standard government shutdown playbook, where employees are usually placed on temporary furlough. Think of it as unpaid leave, and then brought back once funding resumes. But here's where it gets controversial. These firings could be permanent, meaning some jobs might vanish forever, reshaping the federal workforce in ways that could take years to recover from. Democrats have been quick to challenge this tactic, claiming it might cross legal lines, and they seemed confident when the White House hadn't followed through initially. Yet, President Donald Trump hinted earlier this week that he'd soon share details on the scale of job eliminations. "I'll be able to tell you that in 4 or 5 days if this keeps going on," he remarked during a meeting with Canada's Prime Minister, Mark Carney, in the Oval Office. "If this keeps going on, it'll be substantial, and a lot of those jobs will never come back." And this is the part most people miss. It's not just about numbers. It's a power play that could redefine how shutdowns are handled, potentially setting a precedent for future administrations. As the shutdown entered its 10th day on Friday, the Capitol building stood eerily quiet, with both the House and Senate adjourned, and lawmakers scattered outside Washington. Republicans and Democrats are entrenched in a standoff, with Senate Republicans repeatedly urging Democratic holdouts to back a short-term funding bill to restart government operations. Democrats, however, are holding firm, demanding assurances that healthcare benefits will be extended. There's no indication that top leaders from either party are engaging in direct negotiations to break the deadlock. Instead, Senate Majority Leader John Thune, a Republican from South Dakota, is focusing on persuading centrist Democrats to break ranks as the shutdown's effects deepen. "It's time for them to get a backbone," Thune stated at a press briefing, a comment that's sure to fuel debates about political resolve and compromise. This situation raises some big questions. Is using job cuts as leverage in a shutdown fair game? Or does it undermine the democratic process? Could these firings really be illegal, as some argue, or is this just smart strategy in a divided government? And what about the long-term impact on public services? Are we sacrificing essential programs for political points? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you see this as a necessary tough stance or an overreach that could harm everyday Americans? Share your opinions in the comments below. Let's discuss.